Welcome back. My first guest is Frank Voce from Reps for Responders. Welcome, Frank.
Mr. Supervisor, thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us. And you've got a very interesting story to tell and a very important mission. You're an NYPD officer, and you're involved in trying to assist other officers, other first responders, not just police, but first responders, get through trauma. And so I'm delighted to have you on our program. You started a not-for-profit foundation that works with first responders, not just here in Rockland, but across the country, really. And we're really excited to have you. So maybe you could tell us just a little bit about yourself, Frank, where you were born and raised.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Frank Voce. I was born in Congress, New York. Went to Clarkstown North. Played football there. Went to Rockland Community College. Graduated from SUNY Cortland, bachelor's degree in criminology. I was a Congress volunteer firefighter for 3 years. And also an Eagle Scout with Troop 29 out of Clarkstown, and now active police officer for the city of New York for almost 6.5 years.
So, and just a little bit back to your background. So the Voce family has been around for a lot of years in Congress, and and congratulations again, and just this great credit to you going all the way through scouting and becoming an Eagle Scout. It's something like only 4% of all scouts actually attain that rank. So it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of planning. Also, usually it takes a mom to kind of kick in the butt sometimes to finish up, right?
That's true, yeah.
But that's really great. So you're really a hometown boy, Congress boy that kind of experienced life here in Clarkstown as a community and as a town. It's a place where you have your roots. It's been good for you, and then you decide to kind of move into law enforcement. What made you decide to become a police officer?
I think being in Clarkstown, and like you said, my family always being involved in giving back. Like my dad has over 40 years of volunteer fire service in Congress. My mom's a home care nurse out of Nyack, Montefiore, and always just giving back was kind of just rooted into me. And it was either be a police officer or a fireman, and the police officer is where I got the first call, so that's what called me first, and that's what kind of started my journey.
Right, and where you kind of moved your journey along, you ended up becoming an NYPD police officer. And I know you were on our radio program, and you end up experiencing some trauma, some issues. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what moved you into number one, recovery, and then what prompted you to start Reps for Responders.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So in 2018, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and alcohol use disorder, and I had to just make a decision in my life that involved with my job, and I put a lot of pressure on myself, couldn't make a decision, and then I kind of got stuck, and I started to cope with Jack and Jose, and it was a spiral. And then I would just say it was dark. It was dark times. And I had to make a decision, Frank. I said, you got to keep fighting. You have to. You love yourself, your family, your friends love you, and they want you to do better. So after, my friends and family, really great support network. I decided to raise my hand and go get help in 2018. And then in 2019, I ended up going to, they call it in New York City, the Farm, which is rehab, an inpatient facility. And I haven't had a drink of alcohol, not one sip, since September 23rd, 2019. So over a little over 2 years. And as I started to get better and jump into the recovery, because it was for 10 months I was fighting it every single day, Mr. Supervisor, because I'm a cop. How can I ask for help? I can't turn in my gun and shield. I have to help people. But meanwhile, if I can't help myself, I'm not going to be able to help anybody and then put others in danger. It wasn't the right thing. But it was very hard to accept, and I know that happens a lot all over, in the police world, and a lot in the first responder community. So in 2019, as I started to get better, I realized that NYPD had 10 active police officers lose their life as suicide in 2019. 239 police officers lost their life as suicide in 2019. 2020, there was 175 police officers that lost their life as suicide. 20% of everyday people, the statistics show, suffer from PTSD, anxiety, and depression. That increases to 30% for first responders. 1 in 5 police officers have a suicidal ideation in their lifetime. either while they're working or they're retired, and the average age of a police officer is 57 to 65.
Mhm.
So these are a lot of statistics that kind of really started to make me think. And I said, wow, okay, what kind of helped me in my recovery process was talking about what I went through, good or bad, with like-minded people, trusted individuals, fitness, and eating as best as I can really helped me start my recovery journey. So I was like, all right, how can I make sure that this doesn't ever happen to anybody else? Because it doesn't have to be that dark space. It doesn't happen only if you let it. So I said, okay, think about an idea, nonprofit, know nothing about nonprofit world, nothing about the business world. And then towards the very end of 2019, right before 2020, we got accepted for the 501c3. And then March of 2020, we opened up the gym. The first plan was free open gym for first responders and military. And in March of 2020, we also had COVID, so the gym was open for 10 days right next to the river court. Then we ended up closing the doors for good.
Right, and I know we talked on the radio about the importance with working out, because police and first responders will have to meet qualification standards anyway for their job with physical fitness, but there's the whole release of endorphins when you're working out, and it becomes a natural high, and kind of get that rush, if you will, that high, instead of the artificial high that people get from alcohol, drugs, other substances that they abuse. Before I go on, though, I have to say this is just remarkably refreshing and incredibly courageous on your part to tackle your own addiction and then to speak about it to try and help others. And I want to thank you for that, because you're absolutely right. As probably our viewers know, I mean, my career way back when was I